I'm Ingrid Carlson, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I hope this video brings you a lot of inspiration and that you go print these out today and make something beautiful. Don't toss those scraps. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing something that is extra special. I've created a set of printable specimen cards as a free gift to you. You're going to get 3 printables total, one in neutral, one in pink, and one in blue tones. They are perfect for journaling, layering, or creating your own collections of beautiful little bits. I'm going to walk you through how I use them, label them, and attach fabric specimens in a way that feels meaningful, peaceful, and full of vintage charm. But before we get started, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so that you never miss out on any new videos. It's completely free and it helps me tremendously bring out new content for your enjoyment. This video is super fun. I made up these specimen cards. I had an idea that I was going to do, and then it morphed into something completely different, but I absolutely love it, and I think that you're going to love it too when you see the final result. I think you're going to want to make these by the handfuls. So as you see in the specimen card, there are enough spaces for 6 different fabrics, or really whatever you're doing. I'm going to show you how to do fabrics in this video, but feel free to experiment. I think this would be really neat to do different butterflies or different types of insects. You can do different types of laces. You can even do pattern paper. I think really it's limitless of what you can create with these specimen cards. They're just fun. It's a really good base to make a lot of really neat things. And so I'm going to go through my scrap fabrics, and green is not usually a color that I gravitate towards, even though when I was little, I used to tell everyone that green was my favorite color because I didn't want to be like all the other girls and like pink. And now I'm a complete pinkaholic pink girl. So I don't know what happened. And now green is not the color that I grabbed for. But what happened was when I started pulling out the colors, some of those greens just looked so beautiful together, and I just went with it. What I like to do is pick out colors that are prints as well as different types of fabric. So let's say you have a cotton and then mix it with a satin or with a knit versus a chiffon, and you get the idea. I think this works really great to showcase a lot of different things, but honestly, you could do all of the same pattern and maybe have the little embellishments a little different. You can add a bowl pin on one and add a button on another, maybe add a sequin on one and a bead on the next, and so on. So really, this is just a catalyst for you to become super creative, and I hope that you do. And if you do and you decide to make some of these, make sure that you tag me over on Instagram. I always love to see your creations, and it inspires me to create more. So I'm just going to cut these fabrics out, and then I'm going to take a little tiny bit of glue and glue the centers of almost all of the fabrics down. On some of them, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and sew them down. On others, I'm just going to glue them down. And so you're going to want to take that into account. But for now, you can just add a little bit of glue, and then you can always go back afterwards and add more glue if that's all you're adding. And even without any embellishments, you're already seeing how adorable this is starting to look. I'm going to show you two ways that I would decorate my specimen cards. On the first one, I'm going to show you how I would grunge it up and make it look old and tattered and yummy. And the last one, I'm going to leave completely intact the way that it is. And I'd love to know which one is your favorite. And this is just a kind of starting off point, like I said earlier. I'm using some distress stains to just add some extra darkness to the lines, but you can always go in with paint splatters, maybe some stamps. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. You can tea dye your paper. I think that would be really cool. Although, if you have an inkjet printer, you're going to want to tea dye first and then print, or else then your ink is going to magically disappear. As you can see here, I am kind of crumbling the paper around my knuckles. This gives it kind of the crumbled look without it being too crumbled, if that makes sense. Because if you look at a piece of paper that's been around for a long time, you can tell that it's been handled but not crumbled. So that's kind of what I'm trying to go for here. I'm also going to just cut little notches out so that I can bend the papers in and it looks like they were just naturally worn like that. I think one of my favorite things to do with old papers, or actually I should say printables, when I want them to look old, is add holes. I think holes just add just a tiny little touch, and it's in those little tiny details that really you start to tell the story and that really you pull the whole look together. This is the kind of cozy craft that you can do while you're watching your favorite show or listening to a podcast or an audiobook. You can get lost in the beauty of the fabrics or the specimen that you are working on, and it's just a really lovely craft to do. I said this in another video and someone didn't understand what I meant. That when I was little, my grandmother used to say that she was like a barracuda, that she loved anything that sparkled, anything that was shiny. And the reason that we make that comparison is because barracudas and I think maybe even sharks are drawn to shiny things, because if you look underwater, if you've ever been snorkeling, you'll look that a lot of fish, when the light hits them, they shine. You know, they have like a sparkly skin on them. And so the barracudas love to go after those things. And so that's a tip. If you ever do go snorkeling, you don't want to wear a bunch of jewelry because it can attract unwanted barracudas. But anyways, I love being able to play in my stash of buttons and beads and all the little trinkets. They just make my heart so happy. Instead of attaching the pin directly to the fabric, I'm actually going to take some embroidery floss in green and I'm going to sew around one of the edges. I think that this is a really fun look. It adds a little bit more interest. It adds another textile on top of the metal, on top of the fabric, and I think that it came out really darling. Okay, semi drum roll, please. Look at how adorable this is already turning out. Now I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and I'm just going to add some stitches here and there. Really, there was no plan. That's why I'm saying that you can make so many of these in one sitting. I would actually do them assembly style because once you add that little drop of glue, they're going to stay put until you're ready to sew, and then you can sew them up all at once. You can use the same thread for all of them, or you can change it out like I'm going to show you with the next one. But these are so much fun to make. I am completely obsessed and addicted to them, and I know I'm going to be making more this weekend. Another thing you could do is distress the fabric. If you look on the card, my top left piece is actually already a little distressed. I think it was maybe coffee dyed, and so that would make it look older. But tell me this doesn't look like something that was in a seamstress's book. And remember how I told you that I adore pinks? Well, here we go. We're going to do an homage to the stunning pinks, and this card came out so adorable. And on this one, I'm gonna like push the envelope a little bit since it's my second one. That's usually how I create, and that's how I encourage others to create. That's why I tell you to do assembly line projects, because usually your first project will be good. Your second one, you start getting a little looser and you're not so uptight about trying to be perfect or trying to make it look a certain way, and you kind of start becoming a little more playful. And I think that's what happened here, and I absolutely love it. As I was working on this, I remembered that I have some pins that I got at an estate sale, and I thought this would be the perfect time to pull them out and use them. And when I was telling you before that I pushed the envelope a little bit, on this one, instead of attaching the pin through the fabric and then gluing down the fabric, I'm actually going to go through the cardstock itself. Oh, and that also reminds me, I printed the specimen cards on 110-pound white cardstock. I have all the supplies listed in my Amazon storefront if you want to go take a look there. But if you want it to be a lighter fat or lighter paper, then you could definitely do this on just regular copy paper, but it won't be as sturdy. This is more of a card, and it feels like something I can just stick in between the pages and it can hold its own. I've mentioned this in past videos, but this is the year of me using my supplies. And if you're in the same boat with me and you tend to hoard a little bit and not want to use your things and keep them so close to your heart and not want to use them, I'm encouraging you today to take a leap of faith with me and use your supplies. It kind of dawned on me, I think it was last week, that the thing is, if I have a beautiful journal that's sitting up on my shelf and I pull it down, and as I'm flipping through pages, I find some of those pieces that I love so much, they're still there, but now they're getting used, and then they're going to be an heirloom that hopefully will get passed down and down. And so that's what happened here. I've been holding on to these pins. I think they might be, actually, I'm not really sure what they're called. If you know, let me know down in the comments. I feel like they were called garment pins, but I'm not sure. But I love the utility aspect of them, the thickness, the color. They're just grungy enough that it goes so beautifully with this pink. And so these are some that I've been hoarding, and so I'm very excited to finally use them, and I think that this project is perfectly fitting. We can do another half drum roll here because we're almost done, but we are going to add the crown on top, or the cherry on top, that's going to take this project to the next level. I am going to actually add some handwritten text to my page, and if you don't like your handwriting, then you can skip this part or you can add stamps. But I really strongly encourage you today to write the things down. I know that I love looking through artifacts or pieces that my grandmother has left me and to see her handwriting. I love it. And if she would have been worried about what it looked like, or that it wasn't perfect, or that she crossed something out, I wouldn't have those pieces to treasure today. And so I want to encourage you to write the things, not worry about being a perfectionist. And instead, it's just a little piece of you, and you're beautiful. And your handwriting is beautiful. You were created to create. And on that same note, I want to tell you today, if you are having a hard time, I want you to know that you are heard, you are seen, and you are loved. And if you need prayers, feel free to add, you can just add the little praying hands down in the comments below, and we'll be praying for you. Or if you want to message me privately over on Instagram, feel free to do so. Or if you want to write your prayer down in the comments and let other beautiful souls pray for you as well. But I wanted to encourage you today and let you know that you matter. You are important. Your voice counts, and you are loved more than you'll ever know. So, as far as what I'm writing here, I actually Googled Latin terms for fabrics or anything to do with like seamstress things. And so I'm just writing some of these here. I think that the Latin touch takes it to another level as well, because it looks, official. If you ever watched Napoleon Dynamite, this is like the gold bracelet. Anyways, I think it's really cute. And then I added some numbers. I love adding numbers whenever I'm writing script. I think that the two go hand in hand and they complement each other so nice. And just like that, we're done. I'm so happy that you were here with me. And I want to just thank you for all of your comments, your love, your support. And I hope that this video encourages you. If it does, I would so appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already following, that you'd consider doing that now. Until next time, I love you. Bye.